Imagine starting a new project, except this time you're not worrying about versions or dependencies or system quirks. This is exactly what dev containers can do for you. Short for development containers, dev containers are like separate boxes for your code, packaging up everything that your project needs from libraries to tools. Consistency, portability, reproducibility are reasons why you would want to use dev containers. Code in the exact environment that you're going to deploy to, share that environment seamlessly with your teammates, and of course, ensure consistent operation every single time. You might have already used dev containers with GitHub Codespaces or with VS Code. The way these tools work is that they detect a devcontainer.json file in your project, and then a CLI under the hood configures the dev container for you according to that specification. But now, that same exact CLI is open source, enabling anyone to use dev containers anywhere. Today, that's exactly what I'm going to get you started with, both using dev containers via the dev containers extension for VS Code, and for my CLI fans, including myself, I'll get you started with the open source dev containers CLI. So let's get going. To get started using dev containers in VS Code, you'll need VS Code installed, the dev containers extension in VS Code installed, and Docker. Dev containers is compatible with Docker installed locally, remotely, or via a Docker compliant CLI. I'll have a link in the description that will guide you through all of these prerequisites. Once the dev container extension is installed, on the bottom left, you're going to see a status icon. If you click on it, you're going to get access to some dev container commands. Now, before we start with the sample for today, I'm going to show you the version of Node I have installed locally. It's version 16.16. Awesome. Let's hit F1 to bring up the command palette, and we're going to type in try a dev container sample. For today's video, we're going to work with the Node one, but if you're feeling adventurous, and I recommend that you do so, check out the other examples. If this is your first time running through this sample, then a brand new container needs to be built for you. So this is going to take a few moments, but subsequent times that you try this, it's going to be a lot quicker since that step doesn't need to happen. Now we see on the bottom left, the status bar has now changed to indicate that we are indeed working inside of a Node.js dev container. If I type in node -- version, we'll see that the version we're working with Node is version 18.16 inside of this dev container. I can hit F5 to run the application, and we see that the application is running inside of the dev container. I can hit preview in editor, and we've got a hello remote world message here. I'm gonna stop this here. I'm gonna close the simple browser. I'm gonna hit F1 once more and type in close remote connection. And congrats, you've now completed your first step to working with dev containers inside of VS Code. If you're more of a CLI person, don't fret. Let's get you started with the dev containers CLI. Go ahead and run npm install -g at devcontainers/CLI. Now we can type in dev container --help, and you see we have access to commands like dev container up and dev container build, which makes managing your environment even more flexible. We've got plenty more videos coming up on how to use the dev container CLI and dev container extensions inside of VS Code, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. All right, let's take the dev container CLI for a spin. Let's work with the Rust sample that we have at github.com/Microsoft/VS Code -remote -try -rust. We're going to run git clone to get a copy of this repo locally. Awesome. So I'm going to clear the screen right now. I'm going to type in dev container up, which is going to build a dev container for us with this workspace folder, which is going to be that repo that we just cloned locally. So provide the path to wherever you cloned that for. And awesome, at the bottom we see container started, outcome success, bunch more information here. So now we can actually execute a command inside of the dev container. So we're going to run dev container exec, and we're going to provide the workspace folder once more, which is again that same VS Code remote try rust. And then this time at the end, we're going to type in cargo run, which is the command that we want to execute inside of the dev container. Cargo run is a Rust command that is going to compile and run the Rust binary. In this case, you see we've compiled hello remote world. It's finished and it's running. It ran, and we see a hello VS Code remote containers message there for us. And awesome, you just ran the Rust sample with a dev container CLI and seen it in action. And there you have it. We just did an overview of how to leverage Dev containers via the VS Code extension and the open source Dev containers CLI. Turn those notifications on because we've got plenty of Dev container videos coming. And of course, be sure to check out the description for plenty of goodies and resources. I'll see you in the next one.